And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Jumbulaya is a word game, and I guess that would be evidenced by the fact that it comes with a bag, and in that bag you have tiles with letters on them, and you're placing them on a board. Well, that may sound like something that's like Scrabble, but it's really not. It's its own thing. In fact, the closest thing that I would put this with is some kind of anagram. Like my wife gets a book called Jumble and tries to figure out the different words and mixing them up. This has a very similar feel to that. It's some pretty thinky word problem, but it's not that difficult that I still had fun playing the game. Let's take a look at the board. So here's the Jumbulaya board. And at the beginning of the game, you're going to place 3 random letters in all the beginning lines on the board. Each player then will get a little plastic tray, and they'll draw 5 letters from the bag. And I should mention that when I say letters, sometimes there's multiple letters, like here's an L-Y, there's also a C-H, Q-U, go together, E-D, and so you draw some letters, and then when it's your turn, you're going to try to take control of one of these rows on the board. Now you have unlimited time, I guess, except that there's a 2-minute time limit, which people will often flip if you're taking too long on your turn. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to make a word on the board. One of the things you can do is simply rearrange the letters. So let's focus here a little bit on the middle. I could take this right here and switch this around and get the. That's legal. I switched them around. I'm done. And when I do that, I can then place one of my cubes there. I've claimed that line. If someone else had a word there that I rearranged, then I could come in, if I'm blue, and replace them with my color. Another thing you can do is you can add 1 or 2 letters. So underneath here, I can add an R there, and now that's door. You can also rearrange and add letters. So up here, I could rearrange the H and the U and add a T, and I get shut. And so there's different things that you can do as you're adding these. You can also add and replace letters. For example, I can replace the R with a C for my tile. The R would come back to my rack, and then add an E and get the word dice. Or I can, again, you can add up to 2 letters, and the longer the word is, the more points that word is going to be worth. In fact, 1 through 6 letter words are worth 1 through 6 points at the end of the game, or 3 through 6, 3, 4, 5, and 6 points. Once you get 7 letter words, then you get 10 points, and 12 points, and 15 points. And a 10 letter word will give you 20 points, which is quite a big deal. In fact, if you build a 10 letter word, you've ended the game. The game also will end when every single one of these is a word, and then players are going to look for the Jumbulaya. The Jumbulaya is where they will find a 7 or 8, 9 letter word that comes from the top to the bottom. It doesn't have to be in the same row. For example, let's say I was saying Ansible, I can do A-N-S, and then if there was an I somewhere, I-B-L-E. And I can skip a line or so. But once all the lines are words, and someone can find a Jumbulaya, 7 or 9 letters, then they can end the game. And when the game ends, everyone simply will look over here to look at the different words that they control, add up the points for those words. Whoever found the Jumbulaya gets points, depending on how long it is, 10 through 15. And you also get a bonus point for every letter combo tile that you've used. These letter combo tiles are worth a bonus point too. And so that's how the game works. Whoever has the most points is the winner. It's a good game. It's good quality. I like the cubes. They're nice and strong plastic cubes. The tiles are nice. The only problem I have with the trays, is that the trays don't stack. I wish they would, but who cares? The tiles are very well done. They're nice. They're thick. They're wooden. But some of them, I guess they're not all the exact same size. But some of them don't fit on these things just exactly right. Not a big deal. Didn't notice it that much when playing. But every once in a while, I would try to push one into the raised plastic pieces, and it just wouldn't fit. The game itself is a lot of fun. It's not that hard in the beginning to simply look and say, okay, I can add 1 or 2 letters, rearrange these, and get a word there. Or I can switch 2 letters and get a word there. You wrote dice, I'll change that to dike, and then he'll change that to pike, and then he'll change that to pile. But the goal is to make the words longer. For me, the hardest part was finding that Jumbulaya. for some reason, once I get the 6-letter words, that seems, I do use larger words in my vocabulary. I just can't think of them on the spot. So looking for the Jumbulaya was the biggest thing for me, but switching and stealing words from other people, it's very interactive. A lot of fun there. Probably the person who has the best grasp of the dictionary will do better than other people, but I feel like I have a fighting chance. The words have to be dictionary words, just like most word games. It can't be proper nouns and such. But I found this very entertaining. It's a word game I'm going to keep, and I think people who like word games will get a real kick out of this one.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.